Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight with my guests. I'm Charlie Perrault, and I'm a journalist at Les Echos, the daily newspaper. So here with me, I have Thomas ROCAFULL, partner at CR Partners.
Hello, good evening.
And then Antoine, hello, sales director of Ledger Enterprise. And Christophe Fonteneau, your founding member and head of partnership of Request Finance, and you'll tell us more about it later. And finally, we have Julien BOUTELOUP, and your founder of Stake.io, a non-custodial platform where users can buy, swipe, and stake crypto. So yeah, to begin, we're going to start with a little exclusive study that Sia wants to share with us. So if you can tell us more about it, and yeah, let's go.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. So we all know that crypto now is a reality, okay? But this is a feeling, okay? And at CR Partners, with our partner Finance Innovation and Epidemics, we wanted to measure this feeling. We wanted to put some figures. So we did a study towards the French population. So the study was done with 1,800 people. I think we've got some slides on it. I'm consultant, so I'm doing slides. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Maybe next one. 1,800 people responding. So this is a pretty good study. I mean, this is significant, and towards all the population. So what does the study show? Maybe next slide. So the question was really to measure what is I would say the knowledge of crypto by French people, and we can say that half of them, 50% of the respondents, knows quite well, correctly, or a bit crypto. So we were quite surprised by this figure, which is quite high actually. So 50% of them knows 50% of them know a bit of crypto. Maybe next slide is more interesting. How many people did some investment in crypto? Okay, so for the first time in France, we have the figure. 10% of the respondents have done an investment in crypto. Okay, so which is also a quite good number. So that means if we, I mean, extend to the whole French population, that means more or less 5 or 6 million people. Okay, so this is not. I mean, crypto is not a tiny topic, and we can see also in this slide that another 10% is willing to do an investment. Okay, so that means we have a market with 20% potential people in this market. Okay, maybe next slide. Okay, so here you have more detailed figures. We can speak about the study later, but that means today we all have the conviction that the market is there. But with this figure, we can really see that this is more than a reality. This is there today, and this is massive because with 10 million people market, I mean, this is a really a big market.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas. So tonight we're going to talk about this reality, and especially we're not going to oppose the crypto world with the financial system, but we're going to see how they can work, I don't know, how they can merge. And first question is maybe just to begin, Julien, can you tell us maybe what can traditional companies do with crypto? you know, what are the use cases? They can buy, they can sell it, they can, I don't know, invest in it.
Yeah, I think like traditional finance or institutions can actually get paid in crypto. They can send like multiple different goods by receiving crypto in exchange. They can also do the accounting in crypto. I mean, we have a big project on a panel specialized in this topic. Well, I think the massive potential for crypto right now, and that's probably why regulation is trying to tap into the crypto market, is being able to send and receive or make business worldwide using crypto. So that's without borders. So the tax aspect is also like very important. I think like any crypto is here to disrupt any part of businesses where you have a middleman. So obviously like crypto can be used there. But I'm sure like people have more aspect of crypto that can be used.
Yes, maybe Antoine, if you, because you work for the business unit at Ledger, so.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, they can do actually everything you say, and also they can invest in crypto. Some of them, like CFOs and people in charge of treasury, when the companies have cash, they are looking at crypto to get revenue actually and to save their cash reserve to some extent. The stable coins help tremendously to do that with DeFi as well. And yes, what you said is really interesting, is payment across border. Just this morning at Paris Blockchain Week, one company in agriculture came to me, and they were looking for a solution to secure their assets, because they have suppliers in India, for example, and they want to be able to send money easily, not to wait 3 days to get a wire transfer, to do all the chores with finance.
Thank you. Maybe, Christophe, you can tell us more about what you do and what are the solutions that you offer.
Yeah. So Julien started talking about like making payments in crypto. So it's like one like big topic. The other big topic in crypto is like assets and like investing in assets and saving assets. So talking, and Antoine talked about like CFOs, and he dropped the word accounting too. So what people can actually do with crypto is like paying at the speed of internet all across the world with no border. And at Request Finance, our contribution to this is providing the industry, so the Web3 industry, but also to the normal people, I would say, that are not like into crypto, a solution to pay and get paid in a compliant way in crypto through an invoicing solution.
Mm. And do you have any customers that are not from the crypto sector?
So nowadays, I would say 99.9% of our audience is like the crypto industry, the Web3 native players, because this industry is a native industry, even if it's like a few years old. And this industry was like suffering of being associated to gray economy, black market, dark economy, whatever words. And because like it was not understood by the authorities, tax authorities, governments, and we found the way to get it understood from these authorities, providing like an invoicing solution that properly document every single transaction as a normal invoice in the B2B world. And at the end of the year, you have a proper paper trail, you can maintain an accounting, you can declare whatever you want to declare, pay taxes, and the government is happy.
Mm. Thomas, because you work with a lot of financial institutions, what are they afraid of? Is it regulation? Is it environmental problems? That's the main argument that raise?
Yes, this is. There are some topics, of course. What we can say is that this is a real ecosystem. Okay, but this is not always black and white. Okay, sometimes you have a gray zone. Tonight we have the chance to have established people, so an established company. But sometimes, okay, this is not always quite clear to see who is reliable and efficient in this ecosystem. That's why I mean traditional banking, traditional financial actors can be a bit reluctant to come into this domain. So this is also our duty to explain and to make it clear and to do a kind of KYC, I would say, know your crypto, okay, to explain to people which are the best actors and which actors are not so reliable. I think this is a really important topic.
Julien, what are the advice that you can do to this financial institution if they asking themselves about entering this market and maybe the mistakes they have to avoid?
Well, I Stake DAO, for example, or Stake Capital, like Curve Finance, all the different projects. What we do is like mostly focus on financial aspect of the society. I think obviously what you just said, AML and KYC is a massive aspect of entering the blockchain space and the crypto space. You can do like a lot of mistake. It depends how you want to, for example, on an institutional level, how you want to manage your crypto. Are you using custodial solutions, or are you providing your clients ledger solution, meaning that your client are operating in a trustless environment, and so you don't have to manage the security of your clients? And I think that's a big shift towards like this new revolution where a banking system or institutions or any kind of big corporate companies, they usually tend, or if not, very likely tend to get wrecked at some point, either like data leak or money being stolen. And this space, we can offer blockchain space, especially we are in France, we are lucky to have one of the biggest companies in the world that provide the security level. So Ledger is basically like giving user the security that they have full access of their assets and not being protected by a corporate entity. But this also has a sneaky aspect of security, because obviously if you, well, we usually say like not your key, not your assets, it's also very dangerous because you can like the outside world is not so safe. So what you can do, like what I'm looking for as well, is like insurance mechanism where you can link potentially, I'm not sure if maybe Ledger, would you look into that? Like if you have registered your Ledger in some different places, then you can link insurance. You can also like provide a Ledger in some banking system, for example, Société Générale or like BNP, like all the French banking without mentioning them. Like all these different aspects, institutional and regulation, they will need to look into that, but rethink the way they have to think about this new revolution, because if they actually try to regulate a space with all good aspect of traditional finance, this will be a big fail, because right now trustless mechanism and decentralization is here to stay, and people will always try to use those kind of new tools, and if regulation try to block them, it will just penalize society as a or nation states, where other nation will try to accelerate the adoptions, for example US and Asia. So I think there are a lot of different things that institutions can make a mistake, but if they rely on very good players like Ledger and other players like that, that on the security level and on the insurance level, I think there's two aspects: security and insurance, and then we can build massive adoption on top of it.
Yeah, but how can they be sure that it's a good player?
That's the thing. There's no good or bad players. That's what we usually see in the crypto space. Don't trust, verify. So as long as they use mathematics, I think they're very safe. So you don't need to trust Ledger as a company. What you need to trust is what Ledger is operating on top of mathematics. If you believe in axiom 1 + 1 = 2, and if your entire supply chain is built on top of science and mathematics, then that's the beauty of blockchain. You don't need to trust the people. You need to trust the technology. if you have a company that operates in the blockchain space and they're trying to offer you a tool or product that you have adopt of a middleman somewhere, then this is actually very dangerous.
Okay, and maybe the opposite question for you, Antoine. What's your advice for a crypto company that wants to work with financial institution?
Very good question. Well, first, to not scare people from traditional finance, because the complexity of what we are doing in crypto is quite a lot to handle in many conversations. And it looks like inaccessible to some extent. And of course, it's part of user experience. Mathematics can be quite complex as well. So the first advice is really to be like a teacher, but a calm one. And to try actually not to convince, but to explain our perspective and what we can do. Once again, like as soon as people understand what we started with, like cross-border payment, peer-to-peer, they can understand the value. Then you can add multiple layers on like the political views or the benefits of cryptos like Bitcoin against inflation and these kind of topics. But if you start with that, sometimes you can lead a difficult conversation.
And you can start by just Bitcoin, Ether, not DeFi.
Well, it's always at your own risk. Obviously, the more exotic you go, the riskier it gets. The rewards can be great as well, but once again, the risk is aligned with that. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other well-known blockchains can be considered safe because to some extent, some are quite centralized, so you rely on a company in this case. And if we talk about insurances, it's easier to insure a company and to get trust from a well-known company as well. So again, don't trust, verify, do your own research, as they say. But
Christophe, do you have any advice?
To start like a business or to dive into crypto, it's about like choosing like the more I would say the project that stay over time. And so some like projects are like, or the companies are like existing, and resilience is really important in this industry because like it's too easy like to exit after like potential gain. And so we've seen a lot of that. And some companies like the OGs, I would say, are like some of them are like staying over time to deliver the roadmap or the promise they made a few years back. And of course, not trusting like anyone is important in this industry. But as Julien said, code is important. Everything can be verified. There are like beautiful like audit firms that are like working on that. We have security firms as well. So I have absolutely no advice except that is choose the resilient partners.
Thank you. And what is the position of financial institutions today towards crypto? Thomas, are they like more active or passive?
The majority of them is rather passive, even reluctant. Okay, some of them accept to test and to learn. I don't think a traditional finance, I mean, in some years will disappear. And as you say, this is not a fight. This is not a fight between crypto and traditional finance. I think we need those two ecosystems in parallel. But those two ecosystems must work with, together. Okay, so today what we can see is that most banks are reluctant to that, and what is important is that is to test, is to develop some use case to see in which activities, process, products it can be interesting for them. normally what banks are doing, they are starting business aside of traditional business, like for example, Société Générale Forge. We all know this example, but I mean that is a really best practice. Okay, and in France, most other banking groups, and we have large banking groups in France. Most of them are saying no to this new activity and new ecosystem, and I don't think this is the good approach. So, okay, it may take some time. It will take some time, and I think bit by bit, they will go into this domain, but it will take some time for sure.
Yeah, you want to add something?
The problem is like they taking the train when the train is almost already left, is gone. So that's this big issue currently in France and Europe is like they're all trying to find these adoptions where they should adopt it. The Americans, again, they like the internet revolution, they embrace it, they took control of it, and now that's probably one of the reasons we're still the biggest country in the world, the most powerful one. And Asia is actually seeing this opportunity as the internet, like decentralization as the new internet boom. And currently, France, like if you think about it, like most of the company in France or Europe, they're actually they create companies, people creating, they're creating companies, but they all register the company outside Europe or outside France. And imagine creating a stablecoin euro and registering, like, and the companies register outside euro. I mean, it's a big, that's the thing, like, I think that as a community, if we don't try to vocally, strongly talk about it, like for example the Mika thing, it's a big danger. It's probably most dangerous than war or security and defense stuff. This is like like the next revolution, and we're trying to stop it. So it's pretty concerned about this. I mean, I think like as a community we all concerned.
So you mentioned France, Europe, maybe Antoine, because Ledger is all over the world, but especially in the US and Asia. Is it very different?
Yes, definitely. But I mean, on Europe, it's moving as well, not to the speed we should expect with crypto. But you have new topics which are bringing more people to get interested in crypto, such as NFTs, metaverse. We saw that during the political campaign recently. A lot of confusion as well, but at least the topic is on the table. And regarding financial institutions, so it's true that in France, banks have experimented but didn't deliver any not meaningful, but broad experience to their clients. Maybe they are waiting for a more consistent regulatory framework in Europe. Just a few weeks ago, I was in London to a conference with decision makers from top 20 banks, and they presented their view on crypto, and their thinking was CBDCs, so central banks, digital currencies, will drive the adoption. I think, as you said, it will be a bit late because we are still waiting for more concrete example of CBDC first. And then I think it's more like crypto will come to them before CBDC. It's already here actually, so it would be a good time to notice and implement. The challenge that we face, but maybe less in the US, and that's why the adoption is much faster, is in terms of human resources. European banks are lacking developers. They are lacking, I think, human resources to develop new digital experiences, successful digital experiences. You saw the neobanks like Revolut and 26 gaining a lot of market share just with a mobile app. I mean, of course, it's more than that. Sorry for Revolut, but they won their communities thanks to that. And banks today are a bit lost because they never focused on this, and they are 10 years late. So companies like ours can help them to actually deliver a good experience easily, and I mean relatively easily, but secure and well orchestrated.
So on our side, we tried over the last 4 years to visit some ministries of economics, a few in Europe, including France, and I guess we were not understood. We even we went to the European Central Bank, sitting there, a few sessions, and I think there was at that time, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, absolutely no willingness to understand, because it was without judging, the people sitting there were not absolutely willing to hear whatever, because it's a paradigm that's gonna be impacting the next 20 years, and they won't be in the active life to see it happen. So they have absolutely no incentive to make it happen today, because they cannot get granted from this. It's exactly like environment. You have absolutely no need as a politician to regulate this now, because the impact will be after you for your kids, but some people just don't care. And so it's a pretty selfish vision, but it's that's the reality. And so I did not visit recently any ministries of economics or institutions recently, because we just decided, based on this, to focus on an industry of people that are already convinced, so the Web3 actors. And that's already a huge market to address, and that needs structure. So this is the market we choose.
And Thomas, because here it is very negative what we just heard. So, so can you tell us? Do you have any examples? Projects that are quite positive.
Of course. So maybe I want to go back on few things that were said previously. Our position, our conviction as a commentator or analyst is that we should have for a few years parallel markets, parallel ecosystems. And I'm not sure, one thing is that I'm not sure that trying to convince public authorities today or public bodies is an urgent topic. Okay. And also what I wanted to say is that regarding regulations, quite often we say, okay, regulation will limit crypto and so on. I think also regulation is a signal to announce that a market is major. Okay, you are not going to regulate something that is really tiny and so on. And we could see at the beginning that now the market is massive and so on. So regulation is in a sense a good signal. That means this market is getting momentum, pace, and is a massive market. So we don't have to be afraid about regulation. And maybe a third topic also is that we often say that being right before others is not right. Sometimes, so that's what I was saying a short while before, is I think it will take time. The pace is there. We have wonderful companies, a lot of energy. We have a lot of wonderful French people in this ecosystem, in the backbone of the ecosystem. Unfortunately, maybe they don't stay in France, but the pace is there, and I think France is a key actor in this ecosystem for sure, because we have good developers, we have good skills, good people in this area. Okay, so in terms of use case, sorry. So today we could see really interesting topics, like for example, And that's why I was saying a short while ago that we have these two markets having a lot of interactions, because today, for example, you can have tokenization in the crypto world based on real assets. Okay, and vice versa. I mean, this is, the main example to show actually that these two worlds and these two ecosystems are really getting more and more integrations between them. I think this product and this kind of process is really just the beginning of something that will be more massive later.
You mentioned tokenization. Julien, what are the financial products that we can transpose today into Web3?
Like from traditional finance, like products that can be directly used in Web3, or?
Yeah.
Well, I think like anything can be transposed into Web3. That's the question, is more like, what can we not transpose into Web3? I mean, like energy, obviously, it's a massive aspect. We need to understand, like, for example, energy market it's a lot based on trading, but there's a lot of blockers on the trading aspect of energy. Well, they could the settlement of energy and the buying pricing mechanism and all different things could be on chain. Notary, like anything that basically use a middleman, for example, the cab, Uber, Airbnb, BlaBlaCar, all the different companies can be transposed into Web3. I mean, also, like, I can see like some players in the arts industry, music industry, food industry, like basically all the verticals in the market can be transposed into Web3, where you have a middleman, and this middleman can be replaced by a trust layer, which is obviously the blockchain layer. Yeah, I think that's.
But I guess it's not. You can do that, and it's happening.
No,
So
it's
what
not.
are maybe the obstacles?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the panel. Is the first step is how do you remove the user, like how do you interact with the user? Before, we were born in a society where you always give ownership of all the data to the tool that you're trying to use. For example, you register someone, you want to use a banking system, you want to use insurance system, you want to use energy, you want to get stuff for your house or for your family. You always give aspects of your personal life. Well, this can be handled by a Web3 wallet. And this Web3 wallet is the first step towards being able to play with Web3, with the Web3 industry. So it's also very important for traditional players that they need to understand that they actually remove the security aspect of running the product, and they can focus on the utility of the product they're trying to bring to the market, because they don't need to handle the security of the user playing with their product. So if someone is specialized in renting, then they can just focus on renting, and they don't need to handle this huge user database that very likely will get wrecked and lose data, and then data being accessible on dark market. So I think that's the first step, is how you transform your business to not take care of the user information. So user information can come to your project without you the need of making sure they don't get wrecked because they use the blockchain aspect. I think that's the first step, yeah. And also like the payment system. So first you have the wallet aspect and then the payment system, and then they can use your product really easily.
And what about regulation? Is it still like the main problem today, Thomas? Or is it, we talk a lot of proof of work. Is it, yes, the main obstacle? Because it's not about security, as Julien mentioned.
Yes. Regulation today is also at the beginning. Okay, so we know that France and Europe wants to favor crypto development. So there are some intentions. So that's already a good signal as well. But okay, we have to say what will be the real, the reality, the facts regarding that. Today the regulation is more on investments than in infrastructure. Okay, and for sure. It must be coherent between regions like US, Asia, Europe. Otherwise, we will see a move of people and companies between regions. We can see those companies are quite agile actually. So if one regulation is too restrictive, then we can see people flying elsewhere. That's the characteristic of this ecosystem compared to traditional finance. Is that crypto world today is global by design actually. So that means it will go anywhere where the regulation is better. Yeah, is more accessible for them for sure. Yeah.
If I can add, before, don't get me wrong, I think France is moving, is doing a lot of stuff. I can see some incredible lawyers in the space that have been lobbying and creating framework that have been working very hard. But my point is, right now in the DeFi space, I think in all the top DeFi project worldwide, you can see French players. In all the core team of those companies, you have French players. Either they come from the best school in France or not the best school, but you have I think the market of the best developers in the space, they are actually French and also East countries, but they all work with the best DeFi companies. There's not a single DeFi company, maybe in the US, some of them, that I know that are completely changing and reshaping the space of moving as fast as DeFi. That are not a single French on the board or on the top.
Do you have an explanation for that?
I think it's because DeFi is the Cartesian way that the French education, we've been it's really focused on mathematics and physics, and I think DeFi is really kind of Cartesian. It's really based on mathematics, really based on all the concept of blockchain, the way it's actually operating. But the problem I have with always saying we are doing, it's coming. Regulation is also looking into that. The problem is okay, in this room, how many people have USD stablecoin in this room? Okay, how many of you have Euro stablecoin? You see, we have 3 guys, while the rest of the room is almost full of US stablecoin. The point is, right now, in the entire Europe, the penetration of US dollars in Europe, you don't have a single player of DeFi, and you said maybe 10 million users in France are using DeFi. Well, it means they are basically using US DeFi. Let's call it like that. And the problem is now by saying, yeah, we're working on it, regulation is also looking into it, and the problem is it's moving too fast. And we are, again, losing the fight against big players in the industry. Well, I don't understand what we're doing. It's consulting company in the space, big players, the industry, the community. We should all go and tell the world and Europe, please, let's make this regulation in favor of this space. We should inject billions of US dollars in this industry, not block the developers, because then they are going away of Europe and they create other company, and those companies are offshore, BVI, Cayman Island, all those different things. And that's a massive problem. So by saying, yeah, we're doing stuff, it's always difficult to, it's a big concern to me because we're not. They're definitely not. We are working on it, but the rest of the world is working faster than us. So if we don't accept the fact that they are working faster than us, and we say this is coming, we'll basically lose the fight. So I just want to say, let's make sure we understand that it's changing the world. It's a revolution. But by doing what we're doing currently, we are going to lose. That's one.
Antoine, would you like to react to that?
But I guess you can start a campaign as well.
It's over. I've got 1 week left.
All right. Well, yeah, but I mean, I totally agree. And to come back to the other question, it's true that in some countries in Asia, but particularly the US, again, they are leading the race on many topics. Hopefully, I mean, it's the same battle as artificial intelligence in Europe. You have the top brightest minds coming out of the best schools in France, in Germany, everywhere. They are all working for American companies. So, well, I'm happy. I mean, I'm really happy at Ledger because it's French, made in France, and we are exporting actually more than importing. But yes, it's important to get this view on stable coins. To not stop the thinking on just ideas like proof of work is bad for environment without looking at how it works. And then talking about scams permanently in crypto, yes, it's there are a lot of scams, yet scams weren't invented with crypto. So, I mean, let's not lose time with these kind of questions.
Journalists can help
Yes.
to promote.
Yeah, it's a good point as well. Like media in general, they kind of not with us, like as a community. I'm not talking about, I think this is the best. No, my point is like why I don't understand why the major industry in Europe or France, it's kind of like always trying to focus on the bad aspect of the builders, people building, rather than trying to focus on the good aspect. Obviously, I really like what you said. Scam exists before crypto. I do think like obviously most of crypto projects, they all kind of bad, but you still have 1%, 2%. And because everyone is building ton of projects, if you take the 2%, it's like thousands of projects that we should help. And media should focus on, wow, Europe, France is building amazing project, Ledger, like all the different projects, all the different companies. I think that they could actually help us to emphasize the fact that it's a big revolution and we need to inject capital. I run a fund, I invest in project. Right now, some of the best projects I see, they come from Europe and also a huge percentage in France. So we're trying to help the French, and I can see like some guys inside the room as well, like from regulation, lawyers and other stuff. They're trying to make sure like the French industry and the French community, they can build and can stay in France. But it's really difficult. And I think if we have the help of the media, as you mentioned, we'll really, really be grateful. What do you think?
I'm not. I'm just a moderator here. Sorry, Christophe, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, no, everything has been said. Just like we all do like a lot of conferences, like we always like meet each other all over the world. This industry is like above any jurisdictions, cross-border, and it's like that's the major pain for the regulators. But the beauty is like we can operate globally. So for financial inclusion, it's beautiful. And that's something that no one communicates about, or no more. It was at the origin. But it's still super true. And the second aspect of the discussion is that traveling to all these events across the world, the French community is like massive. Yeah, it's massive. We have highly educated people. I think we have a fantastic education system in France. We make like fantastic engineers and developers. And France is the easiest country in the world to set up a company. It's like it can be in an afternoon, even 2 hours on internet. So it's like easy to set up a company for entrepreneurs. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, talented people, especially in tech, a lot of engineers and so on. And that would be great if we could keep them French. Maybe not living in France, but at least French.
Okay, so we're gonna finish this discussion and then we have a Q&A, so you can ask all your questions. So are you quite optimistic or pessimistic about the future?
we are on top of what we just said. The future is super bright. We see some massive adoption for like any app, any protocol. I'm not talking just the financial markets, but like the real applications built on Web3 are like you have hundreds of signups each week on every single project. The funds are like you have investors investing like every day ton of money in every single relevant project. So yeah, the future is on our side super bright.
Totally agree. The perception is that it's a popular investment, and when I mean popular, it's anyone can do it, can access it, and a lot of people with low income actually invest in crypto, and it's a sign that they are willing to take risks as well on their investment, but they are looking at what's available for them today. Bank account with 0.5% return, or crypto where you can actually save money and make more money. Not easily, but they are once again in a good way. So looking bright, and yeah, for Ledger it's expanding. We are recruiting 600 people. So if people here are looking for jobs, don't call us, please. Yes. So I mean, it means a lot.
Thomas?
No, I think all the, as we say in consulting, all the key success factors are there, okay, for sure. But you're right. I mean, established companies, big banks, public authorities in France are risk adverse, and you were saying, you're right. This is a matter of risk. Those people who have got some budget to invest in some projects, they need to take more risk for sure. Some did it, okay, but a lot remain to do. I hope we are not going to see the trains going too fast, and we have to take the train fast. You're right.
Is it already gone, the train?
No, I think it's like it's beautiful. We're building amazing different projects, shaping the this new world where we're living in. So it's massive. I think there's not another space, another industry where it's moving so fast, bringing so many bright people from different industries, such as, I don't know, like quantum physics, mathematics, like economists, like basically blockchain. I don't like to say crypto. Crypto is like kind of pejorative, but like blockchain industry is basically like bringing. It's so exciting that everyone is jumping into the chain. Like everyone is jumping into this industry. So if you're not into crypto, if you're not into blockchain right now, you should basically force the company you're working with to jump into the blockchain industry. But no, the potential is huge. The future is bright. Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
So thank you very much for your time. And yes, we can have a little Q&A session. So if you want to raise your hand and ask a question, that's the time. Okay, I have someone here. So you go.
Bonjour, Benoît Couléchin. I would like to know, what would you advise for a startup in the seed stage to do, or how to create a project in France or in Europe? What would be the best thing to protect the future business from any possible hostile regulation?
You should talk to those guys here.
No, I think I just try to reach out to the best lawyers in France, the ones that are being backing up some good project in the industry. Talk to them, try to understand the risk, try to understand how you can, what's the implication of your business, what you're trying to build, because you have a few different aspects of your business. For example, Ledger is a security device. So it's really different from building strategies of investment, because then you're playing with, you're not playing, but you're providing investment strategies for users, so you must be regulated in a different way. So I think it's really identify the first question you should ask yourself is like, do you actually need blockchain? Because a lot of different projects in the space, they're trying to get into blockchain and crypto because they hear it's really like they don't want to miss the train. But like some business, all the business normally they can actually apply the business to blockchain, but some of them you don't really need the entire blockchain staff, you know. So first identify that you need blockchain, it was useful for your business, and then talk to some guys that can help you and talk to some lawyers that have been working with the best project in the space.
Yeah, actually, I've been talking to lawyers, and most of them they advise to create some BVI structure. So
talk to different lawyers. No, I mean, you have like a lot of different projects in France. They are in France, and it's a different structure. You have usually, I don't want to tell you like but you have like a BVA, which is the American SAFT version, and then you have structure of associations and then company. I'm sure you can find your like everything you need in France. You just need to be really well structured. So find some good lawyers that will not recommend BVI the first call. Maybe the second. Just kidding.
Hi. So I have a question regarding like what are the next steps to take. So today, the only people pushing for regulation are the crypto community, so crypto companies which want to exercise and want to be actually active in the space. And when we go to the events, we see the same people, same companies. And if we have institutional investors pushing for this regulation to be adopted, then maybe we might have more power for that. But in order to get them in, what should be the steps? Like, should the crypto companies get to them and be like, hey guys, we have a solution for you to actually make money? Or should they be the ones actually pushing for it and trying it out? If you have any opinion on that.
Yes. Well, first it's true that as our companies are growing, our work at lobbying level, or at least discussion level with the regulators, is growing as well, because the responsibility is different. So we are pushing, and I mean, all the industry is open to discussion, debate, and doing it in good faith and contrary to popular media opinion, at least. We are not psychopaths. We are not, so. But yeah, I mean, it will come. It's coming, actually. We are talking to them.
And the question is like, what's the biggest bank in the world currently? Apparently.
BlackRock?
Yeah, what's the biggest bank in the world? There was some study, like maybe top 2 or top 3. It's actually Coinbase. So the point is, I think we've been trying to talk to institution and traditional market to adopt blockchain, but the point is like, if they're not making more money, or if it's not giving them more power, that they will adopt it. So the thing is like, if we build and continue building, at some point they will see that we are taking market shares, we're taking business from them, and then they will need to adopt. The only issue is regulation and lobby, because then it's complicated, but as a business, currently, if you show business and they understand that they can make more money by adopting blockchain, then the conviction is already there. That's exactly what we're doing as an industry.
So that's why you have way more people from traditional market that are jumping into the wagon, into the train. But now it's how we do with lobbying in institutions, because for them it's not about making money, it's about bringing them more power. And that's why stablecoin is a massive aspect of making sure that regulation works for us and not against us, because then they will find more value by adopting this technology and then going against it. So like, for example, Europe, China, and US. But when you have some leaders saying that central bank like euro stablecoin digital will come in 5 or 100 years, I doubt that is very easy for us to. Yeah, so we need to work on that.
Next question here.
Yes, I'm listening to all of you talking. Don't you think we should get a coalition or a syndicate in France to be able to lobby easier? Because when we wanted to open our French account here, all the bankers refused us, and the only one who said okay was Société Générale. And to one point, I called Cédrico and I said, do I need to leave France to open my company because no bank wants me to work here? And finally, they told us to go to Société Générale, and that was the only bank that accepted our account. And we spent our day talking about being French, having French investors, working with the French industry to empower France and Europe. And we're in between two rounds of political major elections here. And nobody's talking about this, but this is major for what's going to happen in France and what's going to happen in Europe, because we are on the head of Europe now. France is the president of Europe, and nobody's talking about this. But what we're facing in a few days is really important. And so 2 questions. First of all, why the blockchain and the crypto is afraid to talk about politics while it's a big issue for us right now? And then do you think we should syndicate or get a coalition or something to speak with one voice? Because we're all making a lot of noise, talking with a lot of power and getting step by step, but maybe we should talk with one loud voice and get together. So here's my question. So who's going to go first?
Okay, I think things are moving today, and there are some coalitions or bodies today, like lobbying bodies like Finance Innovation, Finance Innovation, part of Paris Europlace, which are really willing to move on this topic. So I think, I mean, this is an example, but things can get organized through those groups, those bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, and among the groups, like there is also like ADAN in Paris, like Association pour le développement des actifs numériques. Some of us like belong to this like group, and they speak on our behalf to the government, and they do lobbying on our behalf, because going ourselves one by one or striking as French people do doesn't really work. It's like it's a long-term discussion, and basically all of us were busy with daily operations, and we don't have time. That's not our role to do lobbying on daily basis. We do when we can, but for example, like Adan does the job on our behalf quite on daily basis.
And we've run a few experiments as well with politicians at Ledger. We invited them during the campaign. Some of them came. It was interesting. I mean, it's always interesting, and at least to see how they understand what we are doing and how we do it, because you have projects which are basically what they are looking for: industry, top technology, manufactured in France, etc. So there is also, like, once again, the popular demand. 6 million people having crypto. At some point, the topic will be on the table, like because it's part of taxation, so everything taxed in France is always discussed. So it will come as well with the market, I guess.
Okay. But do we need like a European lobby, something? Because Adam is French. It's not, maybe it's not enough.
Who's Mika?
True.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I think we should build like a massive a blockchain mafia. Or it's probably not good to say that, but like a European coalition, and to basically not force and not try to tell the European leaders that this is the future, but explain why we should adopt it and use it and embrace it, because it will actually give Europe back a lot of power, sovereignty, and because like biggest superpower outside of Europe are actually embracing it and adopting it. So it should be like that's the thing I always try. I'm always like really. When you see like big players and big players or big companies worldwide adopting a technology and embracing it, why Europe not telling himself, "What? Wait a second! Like those guys that have control of the world, they're adopting and embracing a technology, but us, we're trying to like stop it." It's not. We should actually work with regulation. Regulation is a big plus for us. Regulation can help us because, I mean, in this space, you have people that are also using this technology in a bad way. So we need regulation. We need people to stop those bad guys. But we also need regulation to help us build the future and making sure that Europe is strong and stronger. And also France play a huge part in this deal. So yeah, building a coalition. But the question is how? Maybe we can ask media to coordinate this and like podcast, using Twitter, using I don't know, create maybe a Discord, or like create something that maybe we could create, send a ledger to all the big leaders in Europe, and then making sure they can sign a message, and we create a group, and then we use that as a. What about building the European DAO? You know, like boom, that's it.
Thank you. I am the CFO of a listed entity, and we already transact in crypto, in and out. We have in a treasury, and in fact, the adoption was quite easy. All the accountants understand now. We use Gnosis, so this, this was easier than what we thought, and I think companies will get there. Then there is an investment part. We put Bitcoin on our balance sheet. It's safe, okay? And then we looked at investing in stable coins because we don't get any rate. So our first problem is that there is no euro stable coin. So we have some euros from Angle, but today it's a very small project, and we cannot buy it on the exchange. So we have to buy USDC or from the exchange and trade it. So the cost is very high for us. And then after, when you are an institution or when you have a board and when you have to explain your decision, you have to go there and you have to explain how it works. And then you start to explain about Tether and the counterparty. And then you explain now about the UST and Terra, Luna, how it works. And then when you do it, there is no way that an institution or CFO will say yes. So in theory, it works. But in practice, no one wants to take the risk. So as individual, it's easy. As institutional and for public company, it's more complicated. And this has to be solved somehow.
So you didn't have a question?
No, I think what you can do on your deck is obfuscate the information. So you just select this is US dollars and this is euro. And that's what I do. And then US dollars, and then you have like this asterisk at the bottom of the page saying this is a new type of US dollars. You know, this is like not coming from the Fed, but it's coming from a company.
My question is, how is the ecosystem plans to do so that really DeFi goes to institution and really gets popular? Because if this problem is not solved, then it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, so I don't have the answer for the balance sheet. But for the P&L, yes. So last year, we went from 1 customer to 1,400 in 1 year. And one key success of that growth was like the ability for CFOs to denominate every single invoice in fiat currency, so euro or dollar, payable in whatever crypto of your choice. So at the end of the year, your P&L remains in euro or dollars, whatever crypto have been used for payment, for the settlement. So even a non-educated accountant, a non-educated auditor, a newbie in the industry, an intern could read the P&L because it's fully denominated in dollars. And I think that was like a key success factor of last year that explained our growth. Because from now, like everything, and like, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe like 70% of our invoices or 80% are like denominated in fiat payable in crypto and paid in crypto. And we're talking about like thousands of, 1,000 invoices a month, something like this. And like the crypto CFOs are like opening the let's say, they give like a pair of glasses to the normal people, so anyone could read the P&L. So that's one key success factor for adoption, I think.
Well, thank you. We have to stop for now. So thank you very much for being here with us tonight. Thank you.